Sad Satan. Few indie horror games have generated as much controversy and mystery as Sad Satan. In 2015, a YouTube channel known as Obscure Horror Corner uploaded footage of what appeared to be a disturbing deep web game. The visuals were grainy and distorted. Hallways stretched endlessly. Images of crime scenes and unsettling photographs flashed across the screen. Distorted audio clips played in the background. There was no clear objective, no traditional gameplay. Just wandering through dark corridors while disturbing imagery appeared without warning. The game was allegedly downloaded from the dark web. That alone fueled speculation. Was it real? Was it staged? Was it some kind of elaborate hoax? Things escalated when viewers noticed certain images in the footage appeared to be linked to real-world tragedies and criminals. Accusations spread. Debates intensified. Some claimed the game included illegal content. Others argued the YouTube creator fabricated the entire thing for attention. To this day, Sad Satan remains controversial. Multiple versions surfaced online, some likely fake recreations. The original build was never verified publicly, but here's why it matters. Sad Satan represents a type of horror that isn't about gameplay. It's about atmosphere, about implication, about crossing lines. The mystery around it made it more disturbing than the game itself. Was it a real deep web artifact? Or was it an internet myth that spiraled out of control? Sometimes not knowing is worse. Yume Nikki. At first glance, Yume Nikki doesn't look like horror. Released in 2004 by a developer known only as Kikiyama, the game uses simple 2D RPG-style graphics. There are no enemies, no dialogue, no instructions. You play as a girl named Madosuke. She refuses to leave her apartment. Instead, she sleeps. And when she sleeps, you enter a surreal dream world. What follows is one of the most unsettling experiences in indie gaming. There are no jump scares, no scripted horror sequences, just wandering through abstract, disconnected dreamscapes filled with strange figures and unsettling environments. Faceless NPCs, distorted landscapes, uncanny imagery, sudden tonal shifts. The horror comes from isolation. You are completely alone. There's no music most of the time, just ambient noise. The game never explains itself. It never gives context. It never gives closure. Players began analyzing it obsessively. Was it about depression, trauma, social withdrawal, mental illness? Yume Nikki doesn't confirm anything, and that's what makes it dark. It forces you to sit in ambiguity, in loneliness, in quiet discomfort. It's not violent, it's not graphic, it's existential. And that subtle psychological dread has influenced an entire generation of indie horror developers. IMSCARED. Most horror games try to scare you inside the game world. IMSCARED tries to scare you outside of it. Released in 2012, IMSCARED looks minimal at first. Blocky graphics, simple environments, basic controls. But it quickly becomes clear this game isn't playing by normal rules. The entity known as Whiteface begins communicating directly with the player. Files start appearing on your computer, not in the game. On your actual desktop, the game asks you to open text documents, to manipulate files, to delete specific folders. At times, it even closes itself, forcing you to interact with your system to continue. IMSCARED weaponizes your computer. It blurs the boundary between game and reality. Suddenly, your safe desktop environment feels compromised. Is the game still running? Is something else happening? The fear isn't from monsters. It's from loss of control. You no longer feel like you're playing a contained experience. You feel observed, manipulated. And that psychological intrusion is deeply unsettling. IMSCARED helped pioneer meta-horror in indie gaming. It doesn't rely on gore. It relies on breaking trust. Faith, the unholy Trinity. Retro horror can be surprisingly effective. Faith, the unholy Trinity, uses Atari-style pixel graphics, simple animations, minimal color palette. But the themes are anything but simple. The game follows a young priest performing exorcisms in a rural setting. It's heavily inspired by 1980s satanic panic culture, demonic possession, religious paranoia, cults, ritual sacrifice. The low-resolution graphics leave much to the imagination, and imagination fills in the gaps. Distorted rose-scope cutscenes suddenly interrupt the pixel art. The tonal shift is jarring. Faith doesn't rely on speed. It relies on dread. You walk slowly. You pray. You confront demonic entities in silence. The horror comes from atmosphere, from religious symbolism, from the fear of moral failure. The game constantly suggests that faith itself may not be enough. That evil is persistent. That belief can be twisted. Despite its minimal visuals, Faith is deeply disturbing because of its themes. It taps into religious anxiety, into guilt, into the fear of unseen forces. And it does it with almost no graphical detail. Proof that horror is psychological first. The closing shift. Unlike the others on this list, the closing shift feels realistic. Painfully realistic. You play as a young woman working the night shift at a coffee shop. The tasks are mundane: cleaning tables, taking orders, mopping floors. But something feels wrong. A customer lingers too long. Someone watches from outside. Footsteps echo in the distance. The horror builds slowly. There are no monsters, no supernatural explanations. Just paranoia. The game taps into a very real fear. Vulnerability during late-night work. It forces you into repetitive tasks while tension increases. You know something is coming, but you don't know when or how. The closing shift is disturbing because it mirrors reality. It doesn't feel fictional. It feels possible. And that grounded fear hits harder than fantasy horror. Mouthwashing. Mouthwashing is psychological horror in its purest form. Set aboard a stranded space freighter, the game focuses on guilt, paranoia, and mental breakdown. There are no traditional enemies, no combat. Just atmosphere and narrative tension. The characters are trapped. Resources are limited. Trust is fragile. The horror unfolds through implication, through subtle dialogue, through environmental storytelling, through slow deterioration of sanity. Mouthwashing explores themes of responsibility and regret. It asks uncomfortable questions about leadership, morality, and survival. And it never offers easy answers. Like many of the darkest indie games, it avoids spectacle. Instead, it sits in discomfort, in isolation, in silence.